You're watching AMA National Championship Motocross from Delmont, Pennsylvania. It's the season finale, the final moto in the 500cc class. At stake, the national championship. Mike LaRocco is the points leader. Jeff Stanton is doing the chasing. If LaRocco finishes fourth, and if Stanton wins this moto, then they would end up tied in points. That's not good enough. LaRocco needs at least in third place, assuming Stanton wins, to wrap up the championship. On the ground, Sean Hogan, rider number 741. He'll not be a factor in this one. Steve Lamson grabs the hole shot, and Lamson looks like he means business. Meanwhile, watching from the sidelines, that's Mike LaRocco Sr. Last year at this race, Jim Holly, he was watching as the 125cc championship was up for grabs, and his son, Mike LaRocco, in the same situation, needed some points to wrap up that title. Instead, he scored 0 points. He walked away losing the championship. I have to think that's what was running through his mind.
Well, not only that, it wasn't the factor that Mike was riding bad. He had a couple of DNFs last year here. The bike failed him. Hopefully the bike didn't fail him in the first moto. It's going to be interesting to see if it can hold together for the second moto.
Mike Kiedrowski, meanwhile, takes over the number 1 position in moto number 2. Kiedrowski won the first moto. He made short work of Lamson in this one. We talked earlier about team tactics, and apparently they're not going to come into play here. I would think that maybe Kiedrowski would hold back just a little bit to see what would take place behind him, how the championship battle would be shaping up. But it's in LaRocco, it's LaRocco in third, I should say, and Stanton running fourth. So even if Mike does not know that at this point in time, it's working out in LaRocco's favor.
Well, I think that Mike, like we talked about in the first moto, Mike Kiedrowski had a bad year this year in the 500s. He wants to go out this last race of the AMA's season. There's no more 500s after this year, so he wants to go out with a win.
Well, that's a good point. He is the defending champion in his 500cc class, and at the tail end of the season, they have made the determination that 500s will be no more. There will not be a chance to contest the championship in 1994, so whoever wins it will not be able to display that number 1 plate. Maybe Kiedrowski wants to be the last rider in history to win a 500cc race. He'll go down to the tribute book. Meanwhile, Mike LaRocco working on the rear wheel of Steve Lamson. He knows Stanton is right behind him. Lamson doing his part in this moto. He's holding up LaRocco, not allowing LaRocco to get around him, but LaRocco taking measures into his own hands through that series of jumps. LaRocco pulls even with Lamson, and he makes the pass. A good move on the part of LaRocco, and now will Lamson let Stanton by?
Oh, I'm almost sure the Honda guys will let telling Steven comes around that Jeff is behind him and let him by because he's got a championship to win. If he's going to win it, he's going to have to go up to the front.
So team tactics might still come into play. I really don't understand why Lamson has not moved over already. Certainly he knows Stanton is back there. However, I think the attitude today is, hey, this is the last race of the year. If you want it, you got to come get it. We ain't handing nothing to nobody.
Well, if they're not handing anything, he's sure earning his way. He hasn't just made the pass on Steve Lamson. He's going to have to work up and catch Kiedrowski and LaRocco if he wants to win this championship.
Well, he can catch them all he wants, but unless LaRocco drops back to at least 4th place, the title is gone. We'll be back to see if that happens after this. The AMA National Championship Motocross season has boiled down to this, the final moto of the season. It's in the 500cc class. You're watching Mike LaRocco, who is currently in 2nd place in the moto. He's being chased by Jeff Stanton. Key here is LaRocco is the points leader. Stanton is the challenger. He's the guy trying to wrest this championship away from LaRocco in the final laps of the last moto of the season. Out front of the two of them is Mike Kiedrowski, who is the defending 500cc champ. He's expecting to make this moto a runaway. He's looking for his first overall win of the season in the 500cc class, and doing a little damage, I might add, to the egos of those behind him.
I got to add, it's amazing that Jeff Stanton can follow the roost of Mike LaRocco without it. He doesn't have a chest protector on. I know that's got to be a factor on him. That roost is just pounding him. I don't know how he's doing it without a chest protector.
Well, fortunately, this loamy track, the sand that they're riding in is not full of rocks. At some tracks, that would be impossible. But it's a very tight track, and he's having trouble. He's trying to make the pass. He wants to get LaRocco behind him, but it appears that there's no room, Jim.
Well, I don't know. It's a pretty wide track. It's just that he's really fighting to get around LaRocco, and I think LaRocco is in the fast line. And if he's going to pass him, he's going to have to make another line and go for him either the inside or the outside. But LaRocco's riding the fast groove right now.
We talked about this being the final 500cc race in the history of AMA Motocross. Next year, no 500s. Tell you what else this is the final race for. Dan Bentley, a mechanic for Jeff Stanton. After many years and many championships, he'll be hanging it up at the tail end of the season. He says enough is enough. Let's hear from Dan.
Basically, I'm just kind of burned out, you know. I don't want my my attitude to affect Jeff's performance, and I can't handle driving this truck anymore. I'm afraid if I drive down I-10 again through Texas, I'll pull my 45 out and start shooting passerbys, people passing by. So basically, the bottom line is the driving and my physical well-being and my attitude towards Jeff, probably in that order.
So you are entertaining offers then to stay closer to the shop?
Oh yeah, and I think that would be the best transition for whoever comes in to work with Jeff. I can try to help him and try to make it as smooth as transition as we can. I want Jeff to do as well. I honestly feel Jeff's going to bounce back next year and he's going to surprise some people. There's a lot of people that think his career is done with, and I'm going to hope to prove them all wrong.
Well, as we watch the final moto of the 500cc National Championship season, I have to wonder, can the loss of Dan Bentley mean all that much to Jeff Stanton? I know he's been with him for a good number of years, tuned his motorcycle to perfection as he won all of those titles, but how will it in reality affect Stanton?
Well, you know, from my own standpoint, I think it's a very crucial loss to lose a mechanic like that, because the mechanic not only tunes the motorcycle, he tunes you. If you have a mechanic that doesn't know your ups and downs and how to motivate you and get you prepared for the race, that's a big loss. So, yes, to answer your question, it is a big loss.
For all you folks that travel I-10 in Texas, let there be no misunderstanding. That was a tongue-in-cheek comment. Dan Bentley does not even own a 45, let alone keep it in the glove compartment of his truck. I'll tell you who has a 45 right now. He's blasting everyone away is Mike Kiedrowski. He's well out in front in this second moto. And Steve Lamson running back in the number 4 position. Lamson a long way from the lead in this one. It has not been the kind of season that Lamson was looking forward to. And a lot of thirds, a lot of fourths, but not up there where he had hoped to be. We'll be back to wrap this season up right after this. Welcome back to the last moto of the 1993 AMA National Championship Motocross season, and as a matter of fact, it's the last moto ever in this 500cc class. Motorcycles have not sold all that well in this class, and I think probably, Jim, it's well, they're hard to ride. A 500cc machine is really tough to ride. Of course, as sales dwindle, there's no need really to promote the class by racing, so it's going to be a thing of the past. I'm kind of sorry to see it go.
I'm sad to see him go too, Larry. You know, I've enjoyed the 500 class over my years of racing and everything. It's a man's machine. It takes a certain person to ride a machine like that. And it's unfortunate the sales have been down. It's an end of an era.
It certainly is that. An end of an era and the beginning of a new era for Mike LaRocco as he is on his way to winning his first ever championship. Kiedrowski's going to take the checkered flag here in just a second, but this guy has the title in hand. Jim, what is he thinking?
I know what I'd be thinking. I'm hoping that checkered flag's around the corner.
Well, it's not too many corners away. Here comes Mike Kiedrowski. Arm in the air. He will claim moto number 2, just as he did in moto number 1. Take the overall win for the day. Mike LaRocco Sr., I think he's thinking it's about time for me to uncross my fingers. He can do that just about now as Mike LaRocco crosses the finish line. He wins the 1993 AMA 500cc National Championship. And for you trivia buffs, write this down. He'll be the last rider to ever win that honor. Mike Sr. comes up, a pat on the back. Mike Jr. looks over and says, hey, the bike ran swell. And now a great big hug for Dad. And a hug for the mechanic. I'll tell you what, folks, it takes the effort of a lot of folks to win a championship, not just the rider. And you can see the culmination of that there. Kiedrowski, LaRocco, Stanton, and Lamson. That's the way they finished overall here in Delmont. Let's take a look at the final standings in the class. LaRocco on top, Stanton, Kiedrowski, and Lamson following. For Mike LaRocco, that first ever national championship, it has got to feel good.